Stay on.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of The Cut. I'm your host, Christian Williams, and I am here, as always, with Randy Hall. Randy, how are you, man?
Doing good. Had like 4 hours of work today, just at a lunch and meeting. So
Sick.
yeah, that's looking
sounds
forward to
good.
another 2.5 hours, 3 hours of meetings tomorrow afternoon. Just really making this last full week of work go pretty quickly.
There you go. I'm super busy right now because we were at a community center, and so January is ramping up. We're doing promotions for membership, and it's a little hectic. So what I've learned is that while everyone's like just really trying to get to the end of the year and like fill time, I'm out here like I don't have time to fill. You know, I'm super busy. But the good part is when we come home, we can look at the football stuff and talk about the football stuff, and that takes you away from that. And that's what we're here to do today, week 15 preview. So we are to the fantasy football playoffs. Most leagues, hopefully all leagues at least. Randy, I know you said you're in a couple 2-week format playoffs that started in week 14. How's that going for you?
I'm in the lead. Didn't have too many buys in that one, thankfully, but we're going good. I mean, might as well just roll into or do the update that we kind of talked about. We not a surprise. We did good. Christian and redraft not so much, but
yeah, I might not play that next year.
Redraft's always been
we'll
like a specialty of mine. Between us, we're pretty even in Dynasty, and not necessarily this year. But
right.
Redraft, I mean, 45 and 24 made the playoffs in all 5. Like we're rolling pretty strong. 1 seed in 2 of them. We're looking pretty good. Dynasty 68 and 58. There's some, against the medians in there that didn't go according to plan necessarily, but made the playoffs in 7 out of 8 of those. The only misses are 32-team IDP Twitter league where I had like 6 to 8 people on the IR all year. When you have that shallow of a team, you're not scoring points. So I'm pretty happy to miss that one because not like I was going to win the title there. Devi, the college side, not a great year. 12 and 14 didn't make combined in the 2 leagues, didn't make playoffs. Well, no play, didn't win the title in the championships or whatever in college at all. Not even close, really. But 28-14 on the NFL sides, playoffs are both looking really good. In the Destination Devi one, I believe it is, right?
Something like that. I don't know.
Either way. We're looking good in that one. Pretty happy. The college side. But Scott Fishbowl made the playoffs in that. 500 record. Out week 1. Unfortunately, Justin Fields and Joe Mixon both out. Make that pretty impossible to advance. All 22, a new league, the new format that we tried this year, made the playoffs in that one, 7-7. Overall, 171 and 128. 57%, 15 out of 16 playoffs. Perfectly happy with that. If I can get a couple championships in there, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah. I would say my goal is 60% winning percentage. Being like plus or minus 3 to 4%. Like I'm pretty happy with that. Unfortunately, I didn't quite hit that. So in redraft leagues really killed me this year. When you start making a lot more content and things, you forget to do waivers sometimes, and I overstretch myself in leagues for sure. So some advice here: don't overstretch yourself. Know your limits for how many leagues you can manage. I did not know my limits. I now know my limits, but I went 20 and 44 in redraft this year, and I only made the playoffs in 1 out of my 5 redraft leagues. Not happy with it. Will be better next year for sure. Dynasty, though, very happy with my performance in Dynasty, and I kind of coupled this and Debbie together because I just didn't distinguish it in the spreadsheet I keep. 166 and 86, and I made the playoffs in 10 out of 13. I was actively tanking in one, and then I won 4 games in a row to end the year, which I was kind of pissed about. I mean, honestly. So really like 10 out of 12 that I was trying to be competitive in. So I feel pretty good about that. Scott Fishbowl didn't write my record down. Bad. Very bad. 3 wins, I believe, maybe is what I finished with. It was pretty rough. All 22, 6 and 8, no playoffs for me, just outside. Obviously, Randy made the playoffs at 7 and 7. I forgot to set my lineup 2 weeks. Well, really for about the last 5 weeks, but I kind of knew I was out.
As I said, it's a new league. This is a little bit of a trial run for them. They kind of hit it last year, but this is really the first trial run at this scale. They don't have an app, so you pretty much have to do it. It's very difficult to do it on your phone. I tried. So you pretty much have to do it on a PC, which mine's up at the office. Like I don't have it here just because I'll forget to set it here. And I forget to set it half the time there as well.
Yeah. And that was my problem is I forgot to set that. I almost forgot to set all of my lineups this last week, which would have been just catastrophic. Would have been very, very, very bad. But overall, I was 243 and 190 for a 56% win percentage. So not really the season I'd like to have. But I am the number 1 seed in at least 3 dynasty leagues, which I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I feel good about my chances to win at least 2 of those championships. And I made the playoffs in 11 out of 19 non-all 22 leagues is how I put it. Because I didn't really count that, but it's 11 out of 20. And then college side things, very similar. I was like 500 overall on the college side this year. Just had a decent year, like that's not a bad year for a format that we just started playing last year. So, but overall, just I had a disappointing season, but we'll bounce back, and hopefully a few championships help that out.
I was gonna say you could have made 2 out of 19, but if you win both, it's fine.
Exactly. Well, and
it's not fine, but it's fine.
Last year, I didn't win a single championship last year, and so that hurt worse than I think this will.
Believe I got 3 last year, so I'm hoping to at least repeat that.
Yeah, just hoping to at least win 3. No, I'm hoping.
It's out of 15, man. That's such a bad percentage. I'm just saying.
That's pretty good though for championships. Like the goal is to always make it to the playoffs, and then anything can happen in the playoffs. We've seen it time and time again. Randy was like never favored to beat me in our home dynasty league, and he beats me every single year. It's like a tradition, and he's on the opposite side of the bracket now. And so
I do have that one reseeding though, so we'll see.
Oh yeah. No. It's fine. I'm gonna make it to the championship game. It doesn't matter. All right, guys. That is our update. We try to be transparent about this, and it's not good to take advice from bad fantasy players. Sometimes, I think we did pretty well, even if I'm disappointed in it. So, let's go over to Thursday Night Football of the Week 15 slate. And this week we have the 49ers as 3.5-point favorites against the 7-6 Seahawks that are kind of in a dry spell here. We'll talk about them in a second, but the over-under in this game is 43.5. Deebo Samuel is out for this game. It was a high ankle sprain and a PCL sprain, I believe. They said they're happy with it, and they said he should be back before the end of the regular season. So,
droppable in regional.
For sure. Yeah. No reason to keep him unless you have an IR spot and you can toss him on there with the weird off chance that he makes it back in 3 weeks. But
even then, it's gonna be tough to be happy to play him. But I get your point
for sure. And then Brock Purdy he has an oblique injury. It sounds like he might be good for this weekend. It doesn't seem as serious as Deebo's injury. So, just some notes.
Thursday. That's why it's a big note. It's the Thursday game.
Yeah, and the reason we're telling you updates about Brock Purdy, obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is done until the playoffs, or close to it at the very least. Brock Purdy stepped in and he played really well. 16 of 21, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also added a rushing touchdown. You know, I got into fights on Twitter about that. You know, he was a bad prospect. He was just not a good quarterback. There's a reason he was a 7th round pick. And I said, you know, Kyle Shanahan's offense makes things very friendly for the quarterback. But I think Purdy actually has a skill set that they can take advantage of some things. Like he can push the ball to the, you know, deep third of the field a little bit better than maybe even Jimmy G. So, but he played well. I think if he plays, I mean, this Seahawks secondary is abysmal right now. They're giving up a lot of points. If he plays, are you like wanting to play him?
No.
That's fair. No one's on bye this week. I think that's important to note. And really, like, that should be your last option. No one's on waivers, things like that, is what I would say. Otherwise, Christian McCaffrey's still dominating. I don't think we need to talk about it. You're playing him. Debo had a good game before the injury. Jordan Mason stepped in kind of after Debo got hurt for the most part, because Debo was playing running back, and there's a big debate happening about that. But Jordan Mason waiver pickup, I think, you know, a lot of people added him last week.
Yeah, he's under a stash, you know, kind of moniker, and it's really just CMC drops. He's going to get a ton of work. I mean, he's getting 5 yards a carry in the last 2 games, I believe. He's gotten double-digit touches. Like, he's going to be in. I don't think you play him unless there's an injury, but if there's an injury, sky's the limit. Could be league winner. So if you got the ability, and it's not, you could put him on your bench and not have to worry about playing him. It's a decent pickup.
Yeah. Play Brandon Ayuk this week. 2 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. I know that that's kind of chasing points, but with Debo out, things are going to look a little bit different. I think they will involve Ayuk in the offense. I think he's a good flex play.
Yeah. I'm curious. Woolen's played pretty good most of the year, a little bit less on the stretch here. So with one guy to kind of focus on the outside at least, we'll see how it pertains for him. But target wise, he should get at least 5, you know, looks.
Yeah,
it's tough. Without knowing, even Purdy at quarterback, is he throwing more than 25 times? I doubt it.
True. Yeah, he didn't in this game. Proc Birdie, baby. All right. The Seahawks, on the other hand, they were stunned by the Panthers. Panthers played really well. Geno Smith was a little bit careless with the ball. He had one really boneheaded pick where he just threw it straight to J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn is incredible, by the way. I'm really glad he recovered from that injury as quickly as he did. But Geno still put together a good fantasy performance. I think you're comfortable with him as like a QB2 option this week. The 49ers are the best defense in football, but the Seahawks should have to throw the ball to stay in this game. So I think you'd be comfortable with him as a volume QB2. DK Metcalf also is a fantastic, a more well-rounded receiver this year with Geno, which I find to be hilarious. Shout out Russ, who we'll talk about shortly. Any interest in Marquise Goodwin?
Slightly. I think he's a decent flex consideration. It does seem like there's a pretty decent chance Kenneth Walker plays this week. If I'm Seattle, I don't have him play this week because they're not going to be able to run on this defense anyways. So I would rather have Travis Homer and DJ Dallas or Tony Jones, whatever, run the 6 to 12 times you're going to run. Just let the receivers and Noah Fant go crazy with Geno to try and keep up with this 49ers team who the last 2 weeks been putting up points. So this shouldn't be a low-scoring game. I mean, 43.5 total for a reason. I honestly think it's an over, and I will take the 49ers, even with the QB question mark. I think the defense will do enough, even with, I think, Geno and Lockett and DK and either Goodwin or Fant having a good day. I don't think both, but.
Yeah, I'm going to actually take the Seahawks to win in a bounce-back way. Yeah, for sure. We need to get there. We're close. And I'm going to take the over in this game as well. So let's move on to the next game quickly. Indianapolis Colts are 4-8-1. They're taking on the Vikings, who are 10-3 On Saturday. Yeah, that's important. We have 3 games on Saturday. This is the earliest 1:00 start, I believe, right?
Yes,
Because it's 1:00,
it's
4:00, 8:00.
y-
Okay.
yes, but I don't think like that anymore. So that's
Yeah.
hard to.
Well, Eastern time is king. That's how they broadcast or they
I'm in the
market all of
center. Okay, central.
for sure. Vikings are 4-point favorites in this game. The over/under is 48.5. The Colts are coming off their bye week, and the Vikings lost to the Lions. They actually battled back, took the lead late, and then gave up a massive play to DJ Chark. The Vikings secondary, like the Seahawks lately, abysmal. Definitely able to beat them through the air. However, the Colts don't necessarily have a recipe to do that. So I mean, obviously they have Michael Pittman. They have the rookie kid that I can't think of his name right now, which is crazy.
Alec
Um,
Pierce.
Alec Pierce, that's his name, who's had a couple of good performances in a row and has honestly had a pretty strong rookie season. Do you have interest in? I mean, Pittman, you're playing, but do you
Yeah, I
have
think
interest in Pierce?
slightly. I'm more interested in Paris and
Fair,
Jelani Woods though.
fair, that's fair.
Woods snap count and productions increased the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think coming out of the bye, we see a lot of rookies, but this could be the same thing for Pierce. But with Matt Ryan under the helm, it's usually been Pittman and Paris, and now with Woods sprinkled in, I think that'll help out. They really have no pass catching running back anymore, so I think that's why Woods and Paris have pretty decent floors. Pittman should make a big play here. Plain simple, the Vikings haven't been the best pass rush team this year. Really haven't been the best defense overall, if we're being real. So I do feel pretty confident in Ryan having a decent day at least, and that could lead to a big. This should just be a big fantasy day all around. The Vikings aren't perfect against the run either. I think Jonathan Taylor should have a good day. Viking side, I think everyone except Dalvin Cook, I'd be looking to have a good day. Colts run
Yeah.
defense is actually pretty good. So
Yeah, and Dalvin Cook's coming off one of his worst career games. And 15 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown. There was a time where he had more carries than yards by a good margin too. But Kirk Cousins did have probably his best career game in terms of the just insane throws that he was making. It helps that Justin Jefferson's out there to get 15 targets and catch 11 of them for over 200 yards, 223 yards to be exact. So, I don't really have an interest in KJ Osborne. I would not play him this week. Once again, no one's on bye, but a little more intrigued than I may have been, just because I do think that the Vikings will have to put up some points here, and I think that he is the clear fourth option. And if one of Thielen or Hawk were to go down, I think KJ would be interesting. But I'm
he's
good
the
on that.
clear fourth option. So
Which not even really, like Dalvin Cook too. I'm going to take the Vikings in this game, and I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to take the Vikings and the under. It's going to be close, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty high number for what it's worth.
Yeah, it's not quite 50, but we're there.
Yeah. All right, next game. The 9-4 Ravens are taking on the 5-8 Browns. The Browns are 3-point favorites in this game, and the over/under is 37.5. Lamar is still week to week. Tyler Huntley has a concussion. Anthony Brown is the quarterback, undrafted free agent out of Oregon. If you don't know who Anthony Brown is, he came in and they really didn't do much other than give the ball to J.K. Dobbins, which is ironic because one of the first, highlight things that happened for J.K. Dobbins was a long run that 2 years ago he would have easily put in the end zone. He's limping, and you can tell that he's still not 100% or still doesn't trust his knee. But it didn't matter in this game. 15 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. And I'm glad to see him back on the field.
Well, I mean, like a really good example, like Swift, it took him about 3 or 4 games of getting snaps to really. I think this last week and a half, we've seen some burst back from Swift. I think it'll take some time to get the rust off of Dobbins' knee a little bit here. But 15 for 120 and a touchdown is nothing to sneeze at. And that's with Gus Edwards having 13 for 66. So both involved heavily with no real quarterback to speak of. I know Huntley, when he was in, he had like 40 yards as well. So I think they'll lean on those two again this week. I don't think Huntley plays. Not this concussion protocol. I still think no one has played the next week.
Correct.
Lamar, I don't think he plays this week. I think the Ravens are going to make sure he's 100%, especially when they're still the ones, or not the one seed, but the top seed in the AFC North, even though the Bengals are, right there. So I think they're fine taking this L to the Browns, who aren't going to make the playoffs, but still. And I think they do, personally, especially if it is AJ Brown or Anthony Brown. Jesus.
AJ Brown would probably be better.
Yes, probably. Even with the struggles of the Browns offense, with Watson back at the helm, we'll see. I don't think this could be an ugly game.
I'm kind of staying away from it for fantasy, except for Njoku,
and
Amari Cooper.
I'm not sure if I have Chubb left anywhere. I know I had him in the Twitter Invitational. I don't know if I have him anywhere else. Right now, I'm not playing Cooper, but this is a home game, so it's really close. I think I might. I think they're going to have to throw because the Ravens, as we've seen against the Browns, are going to sell out to stop the run. So,
are you playing Peoples-Jones, who had a massive week this last
week? I think he is a strong flex consideration this week. I don't know if it's a 1 flex league I'm doing it, but a 2 or 3 flex league, I think he's clearly in the mix.
Would you play him over Amari Cooper? I think you can make an argument for it right now. Target-wise, even. I mean, he had 12 targets last week to Amari Cooper 7.
But Amari dropped like 3 of them. So at a certain point, he kind of went away from him. And they were, focusing on Amari, obviously. So it's close. It's really close. I don't think he has as good a game, but if he's going to get 10 targets. Yeah. But Amari, is a top 15 receiver right now, I believe, maybe a little bit less after this week. There's been plenty of games where he's had 12 targets, so we'll see how it goes.
I'd say play the tight ends for sure here, Andrews and Chief.
Yeah, especially with JOK going to the IR today. I don't have that in the entries here. So the actual pass coverage, an athletic linebacker for the Browns is gone, so not a great sign.
I'm going to take the Ravens to still win this game, despite the quarterback questions, and I'm going to take the under very comfortably.
I'm going to take the Browns in the under.
That's fair. All right, the final Saturday game this week is the Miami Dolphins, who are 8-5, going against the 10-3 Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 7.5-point favorites in this game, and the over/under is 42. Tyreek Hill has an ankle injury. TBD, gonna play. Seems like he's playing.
He got the ankle injury during the game, and then he played pretty much the rest of it. But adrenaline is a hell of a drug. So we'll see. I assume he plays. He's a competitor, plain and simple. We all know that. Jeff Wilson with his hip, it's definitely up in the air. I'm not quite sure he plays. If he doesn't play,
Mostert.
You could play Mostert in the flex. It's not full send.
I wouldn't.
Those are a tough matchup. They haven't been. The Dolphins haven't been able to run the last 2 weeks. Tua struggled with pass rush. I know Von Miller's not there, but the Bills actually had some decent pass rushes last week. If they can keep that train rolling, Tua's going to continue to struggle. And plain simple, we know what they do against Tyreek Hill. They're going to try to take away the big plays. So this may be a Waddle week. But Waddle's banged up as well. This is a tough game to go with. But for the Dolphins, they need to win to have a chance to win this division. The Bills need to win to pretty much lock up the division. So this should be a good matchup, and I'm gonna take the Bills in the over. Also, tough call there.
Yeah, I feel like the Dolphins need to win this to really ensure they make the playoffs. I think if they get this one, they're in. Another divisional game that's going to matter with the Jets and Patriots both in playoff kind of contention. Jets are just outside right now. Patriots jumped into that spot, but a division win will be key. I would not play Mostert. Cole Beasley was just signed to the Buffalo Bills. I think he'll play probably. Here's the thing. He knows the offense, but he doesn't know this offense because this is a different offense.
Yeah, and they have 2 slots better than him.
Currently. I think I did see a report, though, that the idea of getting Cole Beasley out of retirement is to put him on the field and make him the wide receiver 2 because they are not happy with Gabe Davis and even Isaiah McKenzie. which I think is fair with how they've played. I will put a little bit on Josh Allen, though, who has really struggled over the last few weeks. You can tell the elbow injury is definitely impacting him, but he was 16 of 27, 147 yards and a touchdown. He did add 47 yards on 10 carries on the ground and a touchdown as well. But, now that could be a product of the Jets having one of the better defenses in the NFL. But the Dolphins, they haven't been an elite defense by any means, but they've got something pass rush wise with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. And Bradley Chubb is opening a lot up for Jalen Phillips to kind of have a bit of a breakout. He had a fantastic game the other night. I'm curious to see if they can land some of these pass rushes. I'm curious to see what Josh Allen does in this game. I'm not, I wouldn't go into this week thinking Josh Allen's going to be the overall QB1. I would just temper a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure who I'm pegging as the number one QB this week, if I'm being honest. Probably Jalen Hurts.
Maybe Patrick Mahomes
Good against the Bears.
That's fair. Oh, yeah, for sure.
The next game's close. I grant you. But
yes. I'm going to take the Dolphins to win this game. And I'm gonna take the Dolphins to cover at the very least, and I'm gonna take the over.
Yeah. Like I said, Bills. I'll take the Dolphins to cover, but I'll take Bills to the points or in the over. I mean, the Bills just avenged their loss to the Jets. I think they do the same to the Dolphins here.
That's fair. All right, main slate Sunday, 1:00. Not this crappy Central Time garbage. Sorry. Kansas City Chiefs 10-3, 14-point favorites against the Houston Texans, who are 1-11-1 and headed for a quarterback with the first overall pick. I'm going to say this every week for every time we talk about the Texans. Over under in this game is actually 49.5, though. Dameon Pierce is out. I believe they said he's out a couple of weeks at the very least with an ankle injury. Sounds like they just might shut him down for the season.
I assume they do. If he's out 2 weeks, they shut him down, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they've seen enough to know they don't need to draft a running back in the top 4 rounds.
Yeah. You guys kind of know the deal with this game then, with no Dameon Pierce. I don't think that there is a single Texan that you play in this game. There's a quarterback rotation happening in Houston. You can't even trust Davis Mills to put anything together. Also, you don't want to in the fantasy playoffs. You can't trust Jeff Driscoll to do anything because he was like a wildcat quarterback. They were running him a lot, which is an insane way to try to run an offense. But it actually worked a little bit. It caught people off guard. Don't play anyone over there. Amari Rodgers, though.
I was going to say, what about Chris Moore? So first of all, Brandon Cooks, I don't think he's playing the rest of the year. No. He doesn't want to be there. I'm sure he's going to be injured the rest of the year. But Nico Collins, it does seem like it's about 50-50 if he's going to play this week. And if he's out again, I'm pretty enticed by Chris Moore. With 10 for 124. And now without Dameon Pierce, there's really nothing left to do. And that's the only reason Amari Rodgers was even surfaced for the Texans lineup, if we're being honest. So,
for sure.
But again, because they're going to be down by 50, I think Chris Moore has a chance to have a decent day.
Yeah. We walked into last week thinking that was going to be the Texans' MO against the Cowboys, and then they showed out, and they should have won that game for what it's worth. So I don't think that happens this week. Play Mahomes, play Pacheco, play McKinnon, play Juju, play Kelsey. That's it.
Yeah.
Chiefs under.
I'll take Chiefs. I'll take the Texans for the points.
That's fair.
Chiefs and under. It's going to be – listen, the Chiefs got up like 21-0 in like 3 minutes. And then Mahomes dicked around through 3 picks and let the Broncos back.
Dicked around is a good way to put it. One of those picks was like the most uncharacteristic pick I've ever seen him throw. He just threw it straight to the defense. It was a Josh Allen pick, honestly.
It's his game,
Kind of. He normally is pretty good with taking care of the football. I also think he's had good turnover luck over the last few years where there are a lot of drop picks that he throws.
Yeah. He's not taking care of the ball necessarily.
That's fair. Yeah, people are just intimidated by a ball from Patrick Mahomes, I guess, or cornerbacks
Fair.
are at least. All right, I don't want to talk about that game anymore. Next one, 10-3 Cowboys, 4.5-point favorites against the 5-8 Jaguars. Over under in this game is 47.5. I first want to talk about Trevor Lawrence, who over the last like 5 weeks has been absolutely not okay. That's not true.
Struggled last
Yeah,
week.
last week doesn't, if you take away last week, and even with last week, he's played very well over the last few weeks. He's allowed to have one bad game. But in this last game against the Titans, 30 of 42, 368 yards and 3 touchdowns, and added a touchdown on the ground. Evan Ingram was a big part of that, 11 catches, 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. Zay Jones had a fantastic week as well, even though I believe the 4 targets that he got that he did not catch were all drops or close to it. Because that boy just does not catch the ball all the time. But he had 8 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Christian Kirk was kind of quiet. I don't expect that to be the thing every week.
15 targets at Evan Ingram. Yeah, they got to take him from somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Trevor Lawrence, are you playing him against a really good Cowboys defense that will get to the quarterback? I think that's a key point here.
Right now I have him as like a upper to mid QB2. I definitely kind of want to look out in my head who I'd play him over, but
Sure.
It's close. Mainly because he does do it on the ground and he's looked really good. I mean, let's be honest, he's had a really good rookie year. We've all collectively just thrown last year out. Let's just
Yep.
That's just that's the rule now. We don't have that as the year. Same with Fields. We don't count that either.
Yep. Well, that's my question. Who would you play between the two of them this week?
Fields.
Okay.
Fields.
Even against the Eagles?
Yeah.
Whose defense is better, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I'd also play Fields in that matchup because in this matchup, if the Cowboys jump out to a big lead, they're going to be going for picks more. They're going to be going for big plays on defense and getting full send of the rush, that type of thing. And while Lawrence does run, it's not what he's been doing this year. He's been kind of sitting in the pocket. He's had those games as well. But Fields, we know what he could do on both sides. Both these guys look extremely confident now. Yeah. The confidence switch flipped. They feel comfortable with the playbook in this offense, leading the team on the ground, through the air, no matter what, making audibles, doing everything possible. But because of that rushing floor, you have to pick Fields in that scenario, even though both aren't great matchups.
Yeah. The reason I asked is I've seen some. Do I sit Fields this week? No, never sit Justin Fields. He's a QB1 every week.
And I believe the last 3 times he had top end matchups against defenses, starting with the Patriots game, he dominated.
Yep, for sure. Yep, and that's the type of player
they might have lost, but he dominated.
Sure. Back to this game, Cowboys side. Dak Prescott didn't look very good against the Texans. 2 picks, 14 of 39, just one of his worst games of the year. Zeke was good, 62 yards on the ground, a touchdown. Pollard was fine, 42 yards and a touchdown, but 4 catches and 20 yards and a touchdown there. You play both against the Jaguars, I think, comfortably. CeeDee Lamb, quiet game. Don't expect that to continue against this Jaguar secondary. I think you comfortably play CeeDee. He plays CeeDee every week. Noah Brown, big play, no interest. Michael Gallup.
No, because it's going to flip-flop between him and Gallup and maybe T.Y. Hilton. New addition.
Very true. Very
AKA true. Odell is not a Cowboy.
Yeah.
And Dalton Schultz is a must play. He's a top 5 tight end.
Yep, for sure. ETN, second worst game of the season, I think. 32 yards on the ground.
I don't think you play him.
Correct.
So first of all, Titans, the best run defense in football, most likely. Hit or miss there.
Arguably.
But it's close. But so he wasn't going to do shit against them anyways. But it did lead to the passing game. Same thing this week. Cowboys are a pretty tough run defense, which leads to the pass, which leads to the big plays because they get sacks and picks. So I think they are going to stop the run again. Etienne should have a better day. I'll give him that much. But he's at best flex consideration for me this week. I know a few places already have him on the bench. I don't think Ingram keeps that kind of performance, but I think he has another decent day at least. Spread the ball this week. I think I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable flexing Zay Jones or Kirk this week, and Ingram at tight end if I'm desperate. I think if you're picking up him or Chigga, I think both are pretty good streaming options.
Yeah, I'd play Ingram and out of those two. Where I also wanted to highlight, ETN's probably going to be pass blocking a lot in this game, just to chip on Micah and stuff. So, important notes. I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this game, and I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to do the Cowboys and the over.
Okay, cool. Next game, 12-1 Eagles, 8.5-point favorites against the 3-10 Bears. The over-under in this game is 48.5. It's really important to remember that Justin Fields came back from injury in their last performance. We already talked about Justin Fields, not going to harp on it, even though I love to do that. They are coming off their bye week, but that'll give him the extra rest. He should be maybe not 100%, but definitely closer to 100%. We saw him last time we saw him. He was very much so a thrower. He did have another big run because he does that every game, but he was very much so I'm going to sit in the pocket and I'm going to dice it up. I think this may be a game where he kind of opens it back up and runs a little bit more. On the Bears side, Kmet.
It's
Claypool.
You're probably playing Monty. It is a tough rush defense, but he does everything kind of rushing and receiving. So I think he's almost a must play in your flex. I think you're playing Fields easy. Kmet, I think I'm playing Ingram. I think I'm playing Chig over him. I'm playing Dulcich over him, depending on how that quarterback situation shakes out. There's better options there. Claypool, long shot flex. You doing it? Second game with Mooney out technically, but after the bye, full tune up of the offense. He should be in it now. He should be a focal point of it.
I just haven't been super impressed with him. Like I think I could argue that he hasn't even been the second or third best receiver for them, unfortunately. I would argue Equanimeous St. Brown has made more plays and been on the field more. He blocks better. I think that's where they're also trying to get Claypool up to speed is blocking. So I'm not super comfortable with it, and I don't think I would in any scenario. Like I think there are other options that you can play.
Cool.
Other side, quickly, Jalen Hurts is the leader to win MVP now, based on this most recent performance: 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. This is going to be the most fun quarterback matchup for fantasy, I think, that we've had all season. This is 2 of the most dynamic rushing quarterbacks in league history. I think you can say that already, which is crazy, just where they're at in their careers. Miles Sanders is a must play every single week, especially against this Bears defense, where I do think that this is another game the Eagles go back to the past to win, because the Bears secondary has been pretty rough, but they should be getting a few guys back, some of their younger guys. So maybe they do just play a more balanced attack.
It also could be a lightning strike through the air for the first few drives and then to the run game for Sanders to finish it.
For sure. Yeah. I'm going to take the Bears to cover, Eagles to win, over.
Exact same.
Sweet. Bears play close games. They're not a good football team, but
they're not going to win, but they're going to lose by 7.
For sure.
Not 8.5.
That's true. Next game, 5-8 Falcons taking on the 4-9 Saints. The over-under is 43.5. Desmond Ridder is starting in this game. Marcus Mariota quit to go be with his baby, and I respect the hell out of him for it. Arthur Smith threw him under the bus. I'm kind of done with Arthur Smith personally. I think he's a very smart football coach that constructs one of the most dynamic offenses in all of football. I think he's a dick, and I don't think he's a very good head coach either. Sorry, Arthur, if you're watching. Both of these teams are coming off a bye. Andy Dalton's still starting for the Saints. Do you have any interest in any player from this game? Chris Olave, yes.
Kamara, yes. Cordero Patterson, yes. And I don't know if you play Drake London or Kyle Pitts, but you're definitely looking at it this week.
Pitts is out, remember.
Oh, is he out? Oh, sorry. Yeah, my
They
bad.
tossed him on
They're
IR.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They've been on bye. I forgot.
I know, right?
Drake London, though, he wasn't a focal point of the offense necessarily. Under Mariota, they also couldn't throw under Mariota. Ritter, let's see. I don't think I'm playing London, but I'm looking at it for next week.
I'd play London over Claypool easily this week.
I'm not. It's close.
I think
You know what? Yeah, I would. I would just because of Slay and Bradbury.
right. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Now, Lattimore should play in
If
this
he
game.
plays.
He should be back this week. We're thinking. I know
He was supposed to be back to fight Mike Evans, and that didn't happen.
that's true, which was a bummer.
Right?
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take Desmond Ritter winning his first career start in this game, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the under. I think this is gonna be kind of an ugly game, personally.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ritter to win and the under. If Jameis was playing, I'd pick the Saints
For sure.
for what it's worth. So,
Also, I'm rooting for Desmond Ritter so hard. Someone came after my quarterback rankings already. I had Kenny Pickett QB4, and I said, "Hey, man, that's right already. He sucks. We don't know what these other guys are." So Ritter was ahead of him, by the way, and I think he's better. And I think we're gonna find out this week.
he's more consistent, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Next game. Did we both pick? Yeah, we both picked. Next game, 6-7 Lions on a freaking tear right now. 1 point road favorites against the 7-6 Jets. Over under is 44.5. Corey Davis, after 3 weeks back, is back out with a concussion, probably won't play. Mike White got absolutely folded on a hit from Matt Milano. It was, I think, the hardest legal quarterback hit that I have seen in the NFL in 5 years, maybe. I just don't. I mean, I've watched Justin Fields get pummeled, but I don't think it looks as bad because he's so big and Mike White's so flimsy. But he literally just got folded in half. I don't think he's playing this week, is he?
I think he's playing, man.
I saw that he might tough it out, but like.
So let's be clear on this. If he's healthy enough to play, I think he's streamable. I think you're easily playing Elijah Moore. As at this point, I think you're easily playing Garrett Wilson. I think you're easily playing Zonovan Knight.
Yes.
You play him every week now. Game. If Zach Wilson is playing, you are easily playing Zonovan Knight.
That's it.
It may be Garrett Wilson.
Probably not.
Do they go back to Wilson or do they go to Flacco?
They go to Flacco.
Because if it's Flacco, this offense stays the same.
If it's Flacco, you do play everyone. If it's Wilson, you play Bam Knight, and that's it. And here's the caveat though: Elijah Moore may get more involved, or even Garrett Wilson might get more involved in the jet sweep game and things like that, because that's how they have to move the ball when Zach Wilson's in there. But I think they go back to Flacco, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a good call. On the other side, the Lions offense is one of the best in football right now. I heard someone say, how many teams can you say are definitely playing better than the Lions right now? And the list is like 2 or 3. Like they are playing that well offensively at the very least. Jared Goff, 27 of 39, 330 yards and 3 touchdowns. More command over this offense than he's ever had over a single offense in any season, including McVay offenses.
Because I think he's actually running the plays now. He wasn't doing that for the Rams. It's a whole different thing. And he's actually throwing deep.
I know, and doing it well. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Jameson Williams finally, well, he was only back for 2 weeks, but caught a 41-yard
play week 1 though. He was only on punt coverage team, and they didn't punt.
Yeah, this is true. But he caught a 41-yard touchdown, which was pretty awesome. The way they schemed it up, he was running free, and it's tough to catch him even if you stutter for a second. DJ Chark, you're playing him weekly now? Are we there?
I want to be.
Even against Sauce?
I don't give a shit about that.
Okay.
I should. Don't get me wrong.
You should. You probably should.
It's Jameson that makes me push back a bit.
Right. Do you think that
They play the
Jameson is?
same fucking role in the offense.
They do, but Jameson has definitely been the. We're gonna ease him in the same way we ease Swift in. And do you
Agreed.
think they unleash him against the? Yeah, maybe they do unleash him against one of the best defenses because that's what they
That's
haven't put on tape. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like Chark 6 for 94 and 1. If this goes to 3 for 75 and 0, are you playing Chark? No.
I think
That's why
you're
it's kind of like
happy-ish with 10 points from
ish.
Chark.
But that's the issue with Jameson. And I do think he looked pretty healthy last week. We did see the speed.
Yep.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
I want to start DJ Chark, but it'd be a tough call between the options.
Are you playing Goff?
So I am in ROG Dynasty. I can tell you that right now. Lamar's hurt, so it does make the decision a bit easier.
Easy.
Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. But Goff's looked really good.
He has.
This is, in my opinion, the test for Goff to lock up that they're not drafting to quarterback at 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If he can continue to take care of the ball and not screw up this game, he's their quarterback next year. Do they draft somebody? Yes. I don't think it's in the first.
Yeah, I think that could happen. It's important to remember that he did struggle against the Patriots. And so I think that's why this is very much so the test, because they have played a lot of kind of cakewalk defenses. And a lot of it is on the scheme. And if Ben Johnson leads, I think there are a lot of different variables. But yes, I would be comfortable playing Goff in this game. Hesitant to say it, but I would put him in my lineup. I'm going to take the Lions to win, by the way, and the over.
I'm taking the Lions to win and the over. I think this is a big Amon-Ra St. Brown day. DJ Reader and Sauce Gardner on the outside have been really phenomenal together. And they don't go in the slot really.
Yep.
So I do think Chark and Williams can win deep, but they will be facing the tough coverage while Amon-Ra, especially with Hawkinson out, is going to be pretty running free in the middle.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next game. 5-8 Steelers against the 5-8 Panthers. The Panthers are 2-point favorites. The over-under is 38.5. Kenny Pickett has a concussion. Mitchell Trubisky threw 3 picks in his relief last week. I will say, outside of the 3 terrible picks, which 2 of them were very bad, just didn't see the linebackers. Crazy. He does that a lot. Outside of that, though, he played pretty well. 22 of 30. 276 and a touchdown, along with the 3 picks. Don't play him this week. The Panthers defense, Geno Smith was able to kind of unleash a little bit in the second half against the Panthers last week, but they are still playing very well. The Steelers offense is not good. Najee Harris had another bad game after having some good games. Touchdown kind of salvaged it a bit. Deontay is still the alpha. George Pickens had a couple of really nice catches. Do you play any of them though?
I really would have played Deontay. The Panthers, their defense has been really good against the run. They've been really good against outside receivers, but against slots, they have not done well. We saw Tyler Lockett have a really good week last week. I think Deontay could have a good week, man. It's a flex consideration, I grant you, because of how the season's gone. But, I mean, he had 14 points last week. I think he can do it again. And if he sneaks in the end zone, he has a wide receiver 1 week.
I think Trubisky playing helps him.
Exactly. It won't be paid. At this point, if someone gets a concussion, I'm ruling him out for the week until I'm proven wrong, because we haven't seen it.
For sure. I think that's fair. I would play Deontay as well. That's why I asked. I think George Pickens gets clamped by J.C. Horn, though, for what it's worth. Yes. Sam Darnold, 14 of 24, 120 yards and a touchdown. Classic Panthers quarterback line. Deontay Foreman, you playing him?
No.
I don't think I'm playing a single.
They're going to run the ball. Plain and simple. Deontay Foreman, 21 of 74, 1 catch. Chuba Hubbard, 14 of 74 and a touchdown, 3 catches, 25. Blackshear, 4 rushes, 32 yards, a touchdown, 1 catch, 17. They ran the ball with just these 3, 39 times. I think they're going to run 30-plus times again. There's the Steelers defense who been a little bit hit or miss this year. I do think they understand that they're going to run the ball. It does look like DJ Moore is probably out as well. I forgot to put that in here. So at that point, they're going to run it. It's tough. It's basically if they get a touchdown on the ground, they'll be fantasy relevant in my opinion, but I don't know who gets it.
Yeah. I think I'd be most comfortable with Foreman still, but I don't think I'm playing any
It's
of them.
close, especially because it's going to be a good game script either way. Both him and Hubbard, whoever you think's going to get a touchdown, I think have a chance, but it's just tough.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I'm gonna take the Panthers and the under.
Panthers and under for me as well.
Okay, sounds good. This is one you wanted to skip. We can't skip it. I'm sorry. 7-6 Patriots taking on the 5-8 Raiders. The Raiders are 1-point favorites in this game. Shockingly, over under is 44.5. Devontae Parker concussion out. Ramondre Stevenson ankle probably out. Just based on the fact that he came back, then he went back to the locker room, and it just didn't seem good. Wait for news on that. That does matter. If he plays and he's completely clear to go, you play him against the Raiders.
Yeah. Damian Harris hasn't played the last 2 weeks.
He was close this week. He may be back.
So check. Yeah. I think Pure Strong is a top running back ad. And it might just be a waste. I want that plain and simple here. Stevenson could be out this week. He could be out multiple weeks. We don't know as of this point. Monday night game, it's tough. Harris, we're not sure. Monday night game, he couldn't make it. We'll see this week. But Strong, 5 rushes, 70 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches, 20 yards. Kelvin Harris, 26 yards on the ground, a touchdown. He's not efficient. But they trusted him more as a pass blocker than Pierre. But Pierre was definitely the third down back necessarily in pass catching. So if this is the case and they game plan it, it's going to be Pierre Strong, and he's going to have a day, I think. The Raiders defense, it's been hit or miss. Nate Hobbs coming back actually definitely improved the secondary a good amount. The pass rush has improved tremendously over the last couple of weeks with Chandler Jones getting back to being probably schemed, I'm assuming, in the defense. And then the rush defense overall has actually been improving. So while they are dog shit at D-tackle, it has been improving. And it's going to be tough. If you're the Patriots, I think you're attempting to win on the ground. But, I mean, even the Rams tried to do that last week. It didn't really work out necessarily. And then Baker, after McDaniels called the most conservative second half possible, let them come back to win it. Pretty disgraceful there. So just
fireable, I would say,
if they could
afford it.
Yeah. So I do think this is going to be a weird game. It's a game that I'm going to watch, and I don't want to, simply because the Patriots are going to try and run. I'm not sure they will be able to. The Raiders are going to run. I'm not sure how well it's going to go. Obviously, Josh Jacobs has been astounding this year, but the Patriots always take away the best weapon. And more than not this year, they have chosen in a split decision to stop the running game.
Yeah.
And with Carr's up and down play this year, even though he's quarterback 13 in the year, I believe still are close to it. I think they're going to try and take away Josh Jacobs and make the Raiders win through the air, which they can, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'd still play Josh Jacobs and just expect a little less. I think if he can't get going on the ground, they do involve him in the passing game, and it kind of helps his fantasy performance. I want to. Do you think that there would be a trade? You know how we have coach trades sometimes. Do you think that the Patriots would trade a draft pick to get Josh McDaniels back after watching this offense this year? And also, do you think they would take on some of his salaries so that the Raiders could do that?
Deal. No, but deal.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of he outthinks himself, as a head coach, and I think he's trying to do too much and take over too much. where I'm not sure he's earned that as a head coach.
He
So
sucks as a head coach. Let's just put that out there. He's
he's a
terrible.
fantastic offensive coordinator.
But
You
not
know,
when he's the head coach. Like, this offense
yes.
is not good.
Well, and it's kind of the same thing. We talked about Arthur Smith. He's a tremendous scheme. He's a great offensive mind, but he's kind of a dick, and he's not the best head coach. They always play a little bit above expectation, but you're like, they're not going to be anything. So I think both are better coordinators than anything else. It's just one of those things, man.
Yeah. Sorry
But
for bringing it up.
I'm going to take the Patriots in the under.
Yep. Same. All right. Next one, 4-9 Cardinals against the 3-10 Broncos. Broncos are
skip this one.
2.5-point favorites. Over under is 36.5. Russell Wilson has a concussion. He was praising God on Twitter though. I don't know what that means.
That
he does that
really has no
every
bearing on.
Literally, he does it every week.
Yeah.
Mike
If he
Boone,
said some fuck shit on Twitter, we would be
true.
talking different. But
that's true. Mike Boone, ankle injury. Kendall Hinton. God, I struggle with that guy's name for some reason. I don't know why. It's literally just Hinton. Hamstring injury. Kyler has a torn ACL. He's done for the year. This game sucks. The reason this game sucks, I think specifically, is the Broncos secondary is still very good. Colt McCoy was fine, not good, fine. I think DeAndre Hopkins could have a big day, but when you've got Pat Surtain on the other side, I don't know, man.
But I don't think Surtain shadows this week.
No,
just because of Hollywood.
But Hopkins is pretty much lining up on the left side most of the time, and so
he's been moving around a lot this year as well.
A little bit more.
He's played in the slot a good amount. And I think that was part of the reason Robbie Anderson was brought in, not necessarily just because of Hollywood Brown's injury, but Robbie's a clear outside guy. Hollywood works so much better from the outside, which is strange with his body type, but he just does. So it does allow Hopkins to move around.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy 3 touchdowns last week. You playing him this week? With Marco Wilson
Brett
also.
Ripon?
Yeah, he's the backup. So Marco Wilson kind of left hobbled out of this. The Cardinals-Patriots game was just a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So if Marco Wilson doesn't play,
I want to play Jeudy.
Yeah,
I do. But with a backup quarterback, Sutton probably out again.
Might be closer this week.
Murphy going against him most likely. Was Murphy out?
No, he's. I think he's in. I think he's playing.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. So it's a hitter. He's definitely a flex guy. I think Hollywood Brown's there as well. Hopkins, I think, is definitely startable.
Jeudy or Claypool?
Jeudy
or London?
Jeudy, simply because question marks.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to take the Broncos with a better quarterback. No, I'm just kidding. But the Broncos and the under.
Cardinals on the under for me.
Okay, cool. Next game kind of matters a little bit. The 9-4 Bengals are 3.5-point road favorites against the 6-7 Bucks. Over under is 44. Tyler Boyd is going to miss this week. He has a dislocated finger. T. Higgins has a hamstring injury. They basically said we didn't want him out there this last week, which means that he probably won't be playing this week. Joe Burrow was fine last week, 18 of 33, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Joe Mixon back to his normal role, 14 carries, 96 yards. Samaje Perine did vulture the touchdown. It was actually a long touchdown run, I believe, right? 14 yards or something like that. Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. We don't need to talk about that. Play Mixon, Burrow, Chase for sure. I think you consider Perine in deep leagues.
Very deep.
Yeah, that's fair. And then on the other side, the 49ers really put Tom Brady in it was just not good for him. 34 of 55, 253 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Cool video of Dre Greenlaw going up to him and calling him the GOAT, and then handing him the ball that he picked off from him and saying, "Can you sign this, man?" And Brady afterwards said, I did not like that, but I was being a good sport. Basically, was like, yeah, why would you give the ball that you picked off for me? That's not cool. But he did it anyway, and he was nice about it. Rashad White, 13 carries, 56 yards, 5 catches, 21 yards. Leonard Fournette, 4 carries, 13 yards, 6 catches, 33 yards. So we have one fantasy relevant back from this backfield right now. Fournette is close.
I was going to say, which
and
one is it?
It's Rashad White. It's Rashad White. He's getting the starts. He's getting more of the opportunities, and he does get the high value opportunities as well.
So the issue is they can't run the ball. He's the best runner of the two right now by far. He's got way more juice. He's looked really good. But both get the passing work. That's why it's tough. So I think White is startable in the flex. I'm not sure about Lenny.
No.
It's close. Depending on how it's going, it's close. Like, I think the offense plays better this week, plain and simple. But, yeah, it's rough.
Sure. The receivers, 5 catches, 54 yards for Godwin, 4 catches, 44 yards for Evans, both on 9 targets. Very consistent numbers. Nice, even. Looks nice, aesthetically pleasing. Play him against the Bengals, I think, both of them.
Yeah.
Even though Brady and Evans haven't really connected a whole lot this year, I think this is a matchup where they could maybe get it right. Maybe. So, who are you taking? I want to hear yours first because I don't know. I lied. I'm taking the Bengals, and I'm taking the over.
I'm going to take the Bucks and the under.
All right.
It took so much to say it. I didn't want to say it, but
it was tough. Tough. Next game, 2 7-6 teams. The Titans are heading out to LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 47 in this game. Dontrell Hilliard got carted off. Their other backup has missed a couple of games. Who is it? The kid from Michigan that I can't think of right now. Kevin
Haskins.
Kevin would kill me. Hassan Haskins. So Derrick Henry's kind of it right now. So if he goes down, we're looking at God, I can't remember the other kid's name either. So I know I'm struggling. With this. So yeah,
Evans.
No, yeah, he's on the Bears. But Derrick Henry last week, Derrick Henry doesn't go down, knock on wood. 70 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown. 2 fumbles last week. He got one ripped, and it went right into the Jaguars' hands. He was right along the sideline. It's like in Madden. I know when I'm liable to fumble, and I run close to the sideline, so if I fumble, it goes out of bounds. Derrick Henry was kind of doing that, and it didn't matter because it went right to the Jaguars player, and that sucked.
Yeah, he should have a phenomenal game again. I will say he had a lot of these yards in the first half. Not a lot in the second.
I think he got clamped to 3 yards, under 10 yards in the second half.
Yeah. But Chargers are a run funnel. Doesn't matter. They don't change their defense. So he should have a good game. And the Titans are one of the best run defenses. But that doesn't fucking matter because Eckler, again, 15 for 41 and a touchdown on the ground. Maybe the touchdown on the ground goes away. But 8 catches for 59. That's where he makes his money. Yeah. So I don't think that'll matter.
Yeah. Having Mike Williams back definitely helps. 6 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown, just immediately back into a dominant wide receiver 1 type of role, which they literally just chuck the ball up to him and say, hey, Mike, go make a play. And he makes plays. He's one of the better jump ball receivers in the last 5 years, arguably.
Yeah, easy.
10 years. Keenan Allen also 12 catches, 92 yards. You play them both in this matchup.
Yep.
Titans defense once again good, but I think you're
only good against the run though.
Exactly. You're definitely comfortable with them with the receivers. I'm taking the Chargers. I'm taking the Titans. I don't know who I'm taking.
I'm taking the Titans in the over. I think the combination of Henry and Okonkwo can get this done.
I'm calling for a tie. That's my pick is a tie. I think that's going to happen.
The Chargers have played poorly this year most games. They played incredibly well this last week. Kept the playoff hopes alive. All good. I think the Titans bounce back this week.
Yeah, that feels like that's why I hesitated. I feel like Vrabel can get him back on track. I'm taking the Titans and the over.
This this feels like a playoff game, which I know the Chargers know nothing about, so that's why I'll take the Titans.
That's fair. And the Titans know a lot about. And they will know more when they win this game and pretty much lock up the AFC South. Okay, Sunday Night Football this week. Is this right? The Giants and Commanders play again?
Yeah, they play again.
Didn't they just play last week?
So they played, then the Commanders had their bye, and now they play again.
Okay. Wow. So both 7-5-1. It's the rematch. This is crazy. Commanders are 4.5-point favorites, and the over/under is 40.
That's a mistype there.
Yeah, Daniel Bellinger has a rib injury. He's had a rough year. He had the fractured face, the fractured eye socket, essentially, comes back and then has the rib injury. Doesn't really matter a whole lot, I don't think.
It just takes away yet another target on this offense.
Sure.
I believe Richie James, who had a good game, is also a little banged up. So pretty much, I think Slayton's playing. So leaves like Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think okay. This is my hot take of the week. I've had a few of them. One is that Josh McDaniels should be traded back to the Patriots. I think Isaiah Hodgins is a priority waiver pickup. And priority in that you don't play him this week, but you pick him up to see if he can keep doing what he's doing.
That sounds like not a waiver pickup at all, sir.
That's what we're doing with Pierre Strong, though. So that's where I got the idea.
No. Pierre Strong is we're picking up and seeing if everyone else is dead still. And then
this is true. Good. I also think you can do the same, though, with the Giants offense. I mean, all they really have is Darius Slayton right now. I really don't have faith starting any Giants receiver. That's why it's tough. But I do think Hodgins should not be on waivers is basically all I'm saying. I think you can probably find a guy to drop him for and just test the waters out this first week. Also, I loved him as a prospect. I am so ridiculously thrilled that it's happening now on a different team and 3 years later. Good for him. I had him over Gabe Davis, and turns out he might be better.
That's not factual at all. That's very early in our scouting process as well. So,
hey, man,
I'm not
the reason
ecstatic about my numbers from that year, but a lot of them are good. It's just there's not a lot of late round hits in that one.
That's true. Hey, maybe Hodgins, though. I loved Hodgins because he has sticky hands. He catches everything. And Daniel Jones needs people like that because he's not good. And plain and simple. Play Saquon Barkley. Play Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Play Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson seems to be kind of being back schemed into the offense. So there's a chance there. It's just tough.
It is.
This team, they tied 2 weeks ago, and I put in this doc, makes complete sense. They're the same. They're the same. That feels like both shouldn't be 7-5-1, and that's why they tied. Let's go for round 2. I am hoping for a tie.
That would be so sick. I'd be so pumped. I'm taking the Commanders and the under.
I'm taking the tie. I'm not picking a team.
That's fair. I like that. You're gonna be wrong, but
100%.
But it's worth it.
There's no way they tie. Someone's going for 2 to make sure that doesn't happen, but I'm going for it.
I feel like tying would actually help their playoff odds, to be honest, because the other teams are gonna have potential for losses, right?
Yeah,
maybe we'll see. All right, last game, because I'm done talking about that one, and I really don't want to talk about this one either. Monday Night Football is the 4-9 Rams against the 5-8 Packers. Packers are 7-point favorites in this game, and the over/under is 39.5. John Wolford is not going to be the backup even. He's out. I think they put him on the IR today. Is that correct?
I believe so, or they were considering it. I'm not quite sure.
I saw his status changed to out, so he's out this week, but it doesn't matter because Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams for the remainder of the year. 22 of 35 for 230 yards and a touchdown while having the playbook for 44 hours. It doesn't make sense. I don't, because here's my thing. That's the backyard football is where Baker excels, right? Backyard football, when you understand the offense, though, he didn't understand the offense. And there were times that we knew that.
No, when they got the ball, even, at the distance they did, I knew the Raiders were losing.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, knew they were losing.
Even
Just
98 yards away.
It was Baker in a 2-minute drill type situation where he's calling his routes, basically.
Yeah.
And he can do what he wants. And let's be honest, Raiders secondary is not great. Their pass rush looked tired going into the drive, and it continued. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then dumb penalty gave him the game.
Yeah, that's fair. In terms of receiving options, Ben Skoranek, 7 catches, 89 yards in this game. I don't really want to play any Rams. Even Cam Akers, 12 carries, 42 yards and a touchdown. I'm not really interested in that against the Packers even. I think the Packers, their defense has not played as well as they should have this year. I think they've started to come around a little bit. They forced 2 turnovers a couple weeks ago now, and they came off their bye. So that's kind of the most recent evidence that we have of the Packers defense. You're not playing Baker, clearly. Superflex league though, do you consider him over Brock Purdy if he plays?
No, I play Brock Purdy over him.
Yeah, I really wouldn't play Baker. I don't think that I think the honeymoon phase is already over probably. Packers side though, Romeo Doubs expected to potentially be back, which could introduce a weird dynamic into this offense because obviously Christian Watson and Dobbs' absence has established himself as the touchdown king of the NFL, and has played really well and kind of established some trust with Rodgers, kind of the same trust that Dobbs had before the injury earlier in the year, but less so because Dobbs dropped a few. And so I don't know what this passing offense looks like. Do you play Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in this game?
I think you play Aaron Jones. I don't think you play A.J. Dillon. I'm assuming Aaron Dillon's playing. I don't know about that whole situation.
He may retire.
Yeah. But at least in that case, if they are struggling on the ground a bit, that doesn't really affect Aaron Jones, but it does affect A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to take the Rams to cover, Packers to win, under.
Packers points under.
That's fair. I get it. All right, that'll do it for week 15. This is the first week of most fantasy playoffs, so good luck to you if you made your playoffs. If we helped you do your playoffs, let us know. We'd like to know that stuff. We'd like to know that, some of our advice is helping. I got a really awesome tweet. I told someone it was a dynasty league, but it was from a guy named Eric. Shout out Eric. He asked me before the season, should I trade one of my seconds for Miles Sanders? I said, yes, get Miles Sanders and then draft Rachaad White with your other second. And so he did that, and he's loving life right now, and he's on pace to win his league. So if you have any stories like that, we'd love to hear them because that's why we do this, right? We do this to help you guys. Yeah. Kevin, I know, man. I'm sorry. He said you made me miss my playoffs. No, Jeff made that happen. But Randy, anything to add before we get out of here?
I was in the same boat last year. I made playoffs in every year, and I talked to Christian today. I was like, I believe with injuries and having bad weeks, I think I made it through in like at best half after the first week. So I'm hoping for a much better result this year. But we'll see.
Yeah. And good luck to Randy, except for if I play him in any leagues. I don't think we do.
Are there any?
Yeah, which is nice. We normally get each other in the later rounds of the playoffs. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. In the camera.
Yeah. So it'll be a good time. Talk trash to your buddies. Have a good time with the fantasy playoffs. The season's almost over, guys, so we won't be able to talk trash unless we're in dynasty leagues for a few months at the very least. So enjoy it while it lasts. We'll be back next week. It'll be on Tuesdays from now on. This is a Tuesday show now. and we'll get the episode up on the podcast form immediately after the live recording. So if you feel inclined, join us. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, things like that. And I think that's it. So, and after the season, by the way, we'll get back into our draft stuff, which
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm very ready to get into some draft takes, but need to catch up on film watching. So it'll take a few weeks to do that. But all right, good luck in your playoffs. For Randy Hall, I'm Christian Williams. We'll talk to you guys next week. Later.